Welcome back, this is Jeff Byers. I had to break part 15 into 4 parts because it was so long. So this is part 16. This will be part 16 of our modeling series of the sci-fi weapon. So this is part 16. Alright, so we went ahead and kind of fixed the back end. So it looks something like this, and so I think it fits a little bit better into what we're trying to do. I'm going to kind of look up in there, make sure we don't have any huge gaps, and see how this part fits into this. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and move. I think I'm going to continue working on this part real quick, and I'm going to do a Control 1. And I'm going to go to the side view. I'm going to do Control 1 again on this side view. And I'm going to marquee select the vertices. So I'm going to go ahead and marquee select these vertices like this. I'm going to do Control 1 again, like that. And I'm going to go into smooth shade. Let's go in here. Let's do Control 1 on this side. And let's move that in a little bit like this. I got to turn off grid snap. Let's go back. I'm going to do Control Z and turn off grid snap. Okay, got that turned off. And move that so it fits within this area here a little bit better. I need to have that fitting right in there. Okay. Alright, so let's go to, that looks good. So let's go ahead and go and do, right click over this and go into selection mode again. And hit the Control 1 so we can see where we're at with this. And you can see that we've gone kind of into the other piece. Which is fine. I'm not too worried about that. In fact, we could probably get rid of those faces there and not really cause any problems. Okay, so the detail will actually just make sure we don't have any. Let's go Control 1 again, and let's go into this portion and kind of look at what we have so far. Alright, so everything looks good. Okay. I don't really like, I think this is coming down a little bit too far, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to go into vertices and move this up a little bit and move this back a little bit like that. I'm going to go back into perspective and take a look at what we have here for that, and that looks pretty good. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let's move that a little bit forward and move this up a little bit more like that. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Alright, so that part is completely finished. So what I'm going to do with that part there is make sure it's in my medium poly pieces, and it is. I can see it going on and off. There we go. So, and then my main high poly pieces, I'm just going to hide those for now. And you can see those two are kind of going into each other. Okay. So now I'm going to work on this piece right here, okay? So, and I'm not sure, I don't really care what's going on here. So what really matters is what we've got going on with this, and then how the high poly is working with that to make sure that these pieces are fitting in there really well, and make sure there's nothing going in between. So you can see that this part here, okay, is kind of going in, okay, into this piece. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a Control 1 on this piece, and from the, I'm going to right click over somewhere over here, just go to vertex, and I'm going to select these right here and just scale those in. Now with that on, this allows me to go Control 1 again and see everything, and then I can kind of scale those in until I don't see it coming out anymore. Okay, that's really important that we do that. You can kind of see what's happening here. okay, to make sure that nothing's going through. So I'm going to go Control Z back. Here it was going through. Okay. Now there's not much going through. Let's just push it in just a little bit further. Okay, like something like that. And so we know that it's not going to be causing any problems. Okay. Anywhere up the line. Okay. Right, that's good. And then on top, you can see, let's take a look and see what's happening up here with that edge there. Okay. Alright. So from the top to, okay, I'm going to do a Control 1 again with that selected, Control 1. And on the top here, I don't want to mess with that too much, but on top here, I'm going to go ahead and move these vertices down all along the top just to make sure that I have enough room for these pieces up here. There we go. So now I'm going to move that down a bit, and I might even move this down a bit like that, just so we don't have any issues. I'm going to take this side off. Okay, so I'm going to select all of this side here. Okay, make sure I don't select anything else and delete that. So now we have that piece right there that will be something we can mirror it over. Right. So I'm going to turn the main body back on again. Let's take a look at everything. And I think that's looking really, really good at this point. I just want to make sure everything's laying on top. Everything looks good here, and everything's underneath this part as well. We have lots of room here to play with right there. Okay, so that's really super important. All right, so let me click on object mode and just make sure everything looks good there. All right, so I'm not too worried about that. That looks pretty good. All right. And so I guess now what we need to do is now we need to make sure all those pieces are ready to go. We've got everything modeled underneath, and everything's looking good there. And so the next thing we need to do now is to kind of add edge loops to everything. Okay, so again, so nothing collapses too far. We're going to go ahead and do select that part and do Control 1, and this should be fairly easy and quick with this one. So in here we're going to do, let's go in here, hold the Shift key down on the right mouse button, go to Insert Edge Loop Tool, and insert an edge loop here so we can keep that nice and firm. Okay. And as far as the gun itself, let's go ahead and do a Control 1 again and take a look. Okay. Alright, so we could have this nice and smooth, okay? And we can see that it's kind of got that wave right here. You can see that it's a little off with this piece right here. So I might want to move that up a little bit or down a little bit. Right now I think it's fitting okay. It's hard to tell. Let me do wireframe on shaded real quick. I got quite a gap there, right there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Control 1 again. It's just add these edge loops and keep them kind of far away from each other like that. Here we go. Do this edge loop here, this edge loop here, and this edge loop here. There we go. Alright, so when we hit the 3 key, we get more of a softer feel for that. Let's go ahead and go in here and turn wireframe off. There we go. Alright, so we need to add edge loops down here as well. again, we're just kind of covering up. We just need something to cover up these areas here, so I'm going to make a lot harsher edge here and a lot harsher edge here and here, so we'll keep everything solid running through those areas here. Here we go. That looks good. Keep that nice and sharp. And let's go ahead and make a sharp edge right here as well. Here as well. And here too. There we go. And with these, I want these spread out a little bit more, so I can have more of a round look to this. So I'm going to go with edges and select those edges. I'm going to hit the Q key, just make sure. And select these edges and pull these away because I don't want anything sharp right there. Keep that round if I can. This is where it gets a little tricky with this. So I'm going to slide this edge over. Let's see if I can keep that soft and round, or as round as I can. So I'm going to go into edge. Okay. Push that over. And I'm going to select this guy right here as well. And hit the G key and push that over. Kind of space these out a little bit. And I'm going to space this out. Hit the G key. I'm going to space this out. Hit the G key. So I just move that. There we go. And then I'm going to space this out. Hit the G key. See if this will help. Hit the 3, and you can see it softens it up a little bit. Okay. Let's see, that looks a lot better. It's got some nice pieces right there. Again, I don't really like these edge loops. You can see how they kind of go all the way up. And you'd have to space those apart to fix that. Okay. So let's go ahead and put the main high poly on and see how it's going to turn out here. So Control 1. There we go. So underneath it looks like it holds its shape pretty good. At the bottom, that looks really nice. So I'm happy with that. Okay, let's go in here and just kind of look around. That looks really nice. It's nice and smooth. And this looks okay. You see that kind of goes into the gun part of it. Okay, let's go back into object mode. I think I need to fix something here. Control 1. And on the outside of this is where I need to have a edge loop. So I'm going to go ahead and go to edge loop and insert an edge loop pretty close to this edge here. There we go. Okay, that should do it. I'm going to hit the 3 key and take a look at this. Go into object mode. That looks much better. Okay. Alright. You can see how it's spread out a little bit here. Hit the 1 key again, go in here, and hit the Q key. Select this again. You can see that we've got kind of a mess here with all this stuff. Okay, so I think that's about where we should have it. I think that looks pretty good. I think this edge loop needs to be a little tighter. This is a little too soft for my taste, so I'm going to click on this edge right here and go ahead and slide that down a little bit closer to here. And I'm also going to slide this one a little bit closer, hit the G key, and slide that a little bit closer too as well. So I've got, that'll look a little nicer as well. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to slide this edge loop. Let's hit the Control 1 key and take a look at that. Actually, that can be pretty tight up there. I'm going to do right click over it and go back to selection mode and do Control 1 again. Go to this edge loop here. And I'm going to slide these, let's see here, Control Z again. I'm going to get rid of this one, so I'm going to hold the Control key and deselect that, and double click on this, and it goes all the way around, unfortunately. Control Z. And so I don't want to really change anything there, so I'm going to kind of just on top, go to the side view and deselect, just hold the Control key down and just kind of deselect all these that go all the way around, all the way up to this point. You can see that I've got just that selected, okay, on that edge there. And I am going to move that a lot closer. Let's go ahead and go to Slide Edge Loop tool. Here we go. Double click on that one. Again, I'm going to deselect these. That goes all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and Slide Edge Loop tool here, up that. So we can just kind of keep that nice and tight together there as well. And so okay, I'm going to select it and hit the 3 key, and that looks a lot better. Okay, so this is just basically, think of this as just the skeleton of the object, because then you've got the high poly underneath, so you'll never see those discrepancies. The whole idea is that the skeleton looks good underneath, and that's looking really nice. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and these will be placed in the medium poly. Now I don't need to, I suppose if I wanted to add edge loops to this and add more, I don't really need to. I guess I can keep those low poly. This is going to be low poly pretty much. Okay, got those edge loops in there. Alright, so we're almost finished here. We got another piece here that we need to take care of, and that's this guy right here. So I'm going to hit the 1 key on here, and I'm going to keep this separate. So I'm going to go in to the cube and move that over. There's a couple spots here we need to fill up here, and I'm going to turn, well, I guess I can keep this on for now. So just use this, and we're going to go into vertex mode. And if that happens, just right click somewhere away from the cube or the object that you're actually using. Let's go ahead and scale that in so it kind of fits in there like that. And then we're going to move this one like that, this one like this, kind of follow that line here. And that looks pretty good. Alright, so those pieces look really good. And of course the thickness is crazy. Alright, so we just need to move that over like that and move that into there, like that. Okay. That looks good. Let's go ahead and center pivot that. And what we'll do here is we will move this so it kind of follows the angle, right? The angle of this. It's a good idea. Follow the angle that we have here. Alright, so we're just gonna move those vertices in a little bit in the front so they match a little bit more. They're not sticking out too much. Okay, something like that would work really nice. And we're just kind of keeping it kind of close to what we have, to the profile that we have with these guys right over here. We don't want things sticking out too much, so I'm going to go ahead and push that in a little bit more right there so we can kind of get the same kind of depth and thickness that we have all around the rest of the object. Okay. Alright, so with that done, that piece, if it's going to be smooth and detailed, we're going to need to have that edge loop, so I'm going to do Control 1 and go ahead and add edge loops to this. You guys know the drill by now. And so we're going to add these edge loops, try to keep it consistent with the other edge loops that you've been using, have been adding. Even though this is an odd shape, it should work just fine. Just make sure all the edge loops are there. Doesn't take much to get the edge loops on that one. Okay, and then hit the Q key and go into selection mode and hit the 3 key and see how it looks. Okay, let's go ahead and open it up, the rest of it. There we go. That fits in real nicely. So we got that edge, that piece there. Do you see any other pieces that you need to add to the object? I think everything is there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to work on is the trigger guard. Okay, and this. So let's go ahead and knock this stuff out. So trigger guard, Control 1. Again, we're going to go ahead and edge loop the heck out of this thing. So, so we get a nice looking edge. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to add tighter edge loops here and here and here. Really tight edge loop here and here, because this is a machined part. Edge loops are a lot tighter in these areas here on a machine part area. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Alright, so I think that'll work. That goes pretty close. I don't know if I like that too much. That one right there. So that's a little too close. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to go ahead and deselect this guy right here. I know that goes all the way around, so I'm just going to go ahead and deselect this part right here up to that part. Actually, I went to this part in the other one. There we go. Okay, so that's too close together, so I'm going to go ahead and spread that out by going into Slide Edge Tool by holding down the Shift key and the right mouse button. And I'm going to hold down the middle mouse button and just kind of move it around like that. And this will soften that area up there. I haven't done this one yet. I'm assuming it's going to do the same thing. Let's do let's hit the 3 key and see how that looks. I actually like the more rounded look right here, so I'm not going to add an edge loop there. In fact, I'm going to pull that down. And a lot of times it's kind of fun to move edge loops around so they're not so tight. So what you can do is go ahead and click on that edge and click on this one, and it unfortunately goes all the way around. So I do want that edge pretty tight. What we can do again is just kind of control select these pieces out, right? Hold down the control key and just get rid of those for now. I do want those to be pretty tight edges here. Alright, but this one I want to be a little softer, so I'm going to move this one across. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to move that one across. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Slide Edge Loop Tool and slide that closer to the center. Here we go, like that. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy right here. Since we don't have many to select, I'm just going to go ahead and do it by hand. Just as easy to do that. And I'm going to keep that one. Here we go. Okay, so the G key, because I think it remembers that. Get in the middle like that. And I can actually bring it down. Just bring it down a little bit. Give it kind of some roundness here. Kind of interesting. I'll do the same thing with this guy here as well, too. Hit the Q key and just do the center one. We'll just move that down a little bit. There we go. That will work out perfect. Move that down just a little bit. And then we'll move this one down too as well. And that'll give us kind of a nice round looking feel to it. There we go. And if I hit the 3 key, we get a nice round look to it. I like that. We got a flat look to that where the edge guard is, and it's more round at the bottom. I like that. Looks good. Okay. It's kind of caving in on the outside, so I'm going to hit the 1 key, and then of course I forgot to do an edge loop here. So let's go ahead and do an edge loop there. Alright, cool. So that looks good. Alright, so that piece is done. Hit the Q key so you don't select and create any more edge loops. And if I hit the 3 key, then it looks finished. So let's go ahead and put the go to Control 1 again. So that guard is done. Look how nice that looks.